Welcome to Two Movies, One Pod with your hosts, Em and Kinka. I'm Em.
And I'm Kinka.
And we love movies, so we decided to make a podcast about it, talking about two different movies per episode, and...
Yeah, we decided to do the two movies every episode to, kind of, so we can compare and contrast them. They have some kind of connection. It's going to be rather a vague and made-up connection, honestly, most of the time, but it's enjoyable. I don't know, compare and contrast. Like, you could do one movie, the first movie in a franchise, and then either the latest or, like, the worst one, or even just two movies that, like, have the same actor in them. Something like that. Anything. It's just interesting. We like talking about movies. We watch movies. Who doesn't watch movies? We watch movies. We talk about them. Two of them. That's the name of the podcast. That's why you're here.
Yes. And so, for instance, sometimes we'll talk about horror movies. We like horror movies pretty much the most. But we'll definitely try to, or at least I do, we'll try to, go off into other genres as well. And like Kinka said, sometimes the movies may be similar in director or, like you said, actor. Or, for instance, our two movies today are similar because they're both Korean films.
Yeah, they're both South Korean films.
South Korean films.
It's an important distinction.
Yeah. I don't think it would be North Korean. They don't have movies there.
I think there's some North Korean movies.
I don't think they're, like, good, though.
No, there's like propaganda.
There is. Right.
But anyway, sorry.
Yeah. But, yeah, so you can expect to see some friends come on with us sometimes.
Maybe,
and
hopefully. Scheduling conflicts.
We'll have, yes, but we'll try our best. And you can also expect to see two movies that are both good, or one movie that's bad and one movie that's good.
True, they're not always going to be two good movies. They're not always going to be two bad movies.
Exactly.
It's just going to be two movies.
Yeah, every time.
Every time, no matter what.
That's the only guarantee.
That's the only guarantee on those podcasts. Two movies will be here. That's it. That's all we can guarantee. On today's episode, we are discussing Bong Joon-Ho's 2019 dark comedy thriller, Parasite, starring Song Kang-ho, Chu Woo-sik, and Park So-dam. And we're also going to be discussing Lee Chang-Dong's 2018 thriller drama, Burning, starring Yoo Ah-in, Steven Yeun, I never know how to pronounce his name, and everyone always gives me conflicting answers, but that's okay, and Jeon Jong-so, I believe. Forgive me for these names. We're American here, okay? So these two movies, they came out, like within like a year of each other. So they capture kind of a similar vibe, I suppose, a similar feeling or theme or whatever of South Korea. Specifically, I don't believe that there's any overlap in like the settings. I'm not certain if like the city in Parasite is the same in Burning. They go to a few different cities in Burning, but at least architecturally, when you go to Ben's house, Ben being Steven Yeun or Yoon's character from Burning, he's a wealthy, kind of mysterious, wealthy young man, and he's lives in a nice place. And then you go to Parasite, and they got the nice place as well. But the architecture or at least the roads and everything, all look pretty similar. But these two movies contrasts wealthy South Korean society with worse off people. Parasite much more than Burning. People are literally in the sewers in Parasite. When in Burning, he's just kind of in a farm in like the outskirts of the country. He's on the border of North Korea. You can hear the propaganda and shit, which is interesting.
Yes.
It means something thematically, probably. But I'm not smart enough to know all that.
I think it just means like living in the outskirts compared to living in the city, like in Seoul, or and then you obviously, I'm sure you wouldn't want to live on the border of North Korea.
Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of hinting towards lower class living.
Yeah, we could even hint towards
farmland.
I just thought of this right now. it's like, he's at his house or whatever, and then off in the distance there's always the propaganda trying to, what's the word, not trick people, but like get people, I guess trick people into going into North Korea. So that could almost be seen as like what's going on in his head as well with his family history of violence. There's always this part of his brain that's kind of pulling him in a direction of violence.
Right.
Which,
just like
spoiler alert, but it happens.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, yeah, it's pulling him because he had to come back home after his father has a history of violence. So, right, it's like North Korea, the propaganda could potentially be pulling him in, like you said, how he got pulled back to his dad's. And none of it was really his choice.
Yeah. I believe he says in the movie something like, or no, he doesn't say it. The girl, what's her name? Jaime.
Hey.
Jaime pretty much says, "That's life," to him. Yeah. Remember that? At the beginning, he's like, "Oh, yeah. I gotta go, my dad's in jail or something," and then he was like, you you're not reacting to this, and she's like, "Well, that's life."
Right, because she lives in a 1 foot by 1 foot apartment, pretty much.
1 room apartment.
And she has nobody, so she probably has seen some shit as well.
Yeah. There's lots to talk about with Burning and Parasite. Both of them. They both have lots to talk about. Parasite is about a poor family living in a semi-underground house in South Korea that are suddenly given the opportunity, more or less, through conning, most of all, to work as servants for this very wealthy family. And they leech their way slowly into the pockets of this wealthy family, and until it just becomes, it's just you fly too close to the sun. When you get too greedy, it's a tragedy to a degree. Parasite, you get too greedy, you fly too close to the sun. Things happen. You're never gonna get away with conning someone to that degree long term. It's just not gonna happen.
Exactly.
Though it might be enjoyable to watch. It was very enjoyable to watch, but
best movie I've seen in like a year.
Yeah, when things went down, well, it wasn't very pretty, was it?
No. I'm still very much so disturbed from it. I'm just like, it was a lot, for sure.
Yeah, and Burning is, it's, to a degree, it's kind of hard to describe Burning.
It is, right?
It fits its name well. It's a slow burn, a very slow burn. It's longer than Parasite. Parasite itself is kind of decently long, Parasite, and this movie's like 20-30 minutes longer. And it's very slow. The first time I watched it, I watched half of it and I was like, whatever. And then I went back and watched the second half and I was like, oh wow, okay, holy shit, oh my god.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, just after my first viewing, which, as I just said, took 2 parts, it stayed in my mind for months, and it borderline haunted me, this movie. And I enjoyed it so much. I watched it on Netflix the first time I saw it, and I was so compelled by it that months and months, it must have been like 6 months later, I bought it on Blu-ray so I could watch it again and have it, like,
nice.
Rather than relying on Netflix, which is not even on Netflix anymore. It's a good thing I did that. But yeah, what was your first experience? What was your first impression upon watching Burning?
My first impression was that it was very slow. We watched it together, but I also wasn't like, we hadn't established that we were making a podcast yet, so I wasn't like committed to really paying attention. But I did catch a few things. Obviously, I caught a lot more the second time watching it. I was like mind blown the second time. But no, I liked it the first time, but I didn't fall in love with it until the second time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's a movie that you're just not gonna appreciate to its full potential the first time.
Right.
It's something that just you have to think about it either by the movie haunting you, as it did with me, or just by choosing to think about it. But I don't know, there's such mystery. There's such mystique.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's even the right word. There's
I
such
love
mystery to it, an air of mystery that it just never gets fully explained.
Exactly.
You'll never know. You'll never know. And so I raised this question. In Burning, Ben, Stephen Yuen, or Ewan's character, there's a heavy implication in the film that he is a murderer. And by the way, spoilers for both of these movies. Spoilers for every movie that we ever do in this podcast. We're talking about them in full detail.
Watch it first.
Please do.
Yeah.
So in Burning, Ben is heavily implied to be a murderer. Serial killer, even. There's so much evidence stacked against him, but none of it is like
concrete
police evidence.
Right.
It's like just conspiratorial almost.
Right.
So, and it's all driven by the main character, Jong-soo. He's a bit bitter, Jaime has vanished. Last thing he said to Jaime was not very kind. They left on bitter, so to speak, bitter terms. And she's just seemingly disappeared.
And then he never saw her. I know.
She disappeared right after Ben talked about his habit of committing arson, burning greenhouses that are abandoned, that no one cares about, and that won't be missed.
Right.
And then whew, that man's weird.
What's the word? All like examples are like, hinting that he's talking about women.
Yeah, allegorical is not a word. Metaphorical is, though.
Yes, metaphorically, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking of a bunch of other different words, but
yes.
Yeah, very metaphorical. It seems like almost the whole dialogue, the whole script is very metaphorical. That's pretty much the whole movie. Like, that's why you can't just watch it one time and be like, all right, cool. You have to go back and watch it and be like, oh shit, I didn't remember that. Like, it's so much better the second time.
Everything means something, and everything just is so impactful, despite just being just a thing. This is a thing. My obsession, or at least the themes that I strive the most for when I write, is just like the mundane things, and how mundacity, whatever the real word is, can just like haunt you. Just doing the same thing over and over, seeing the same thing, and then it's suddenly not being there. Where did it go? You don't know. That daily routine that could just drive you mad. Like, Jong-soo falls through that. He goes insane. He just does like the same thing every day. Running, looking at the greenhouses, none of them are burned down, despite Ben having told him it already burnt down. He's so obsessed with such mundane things that he doesn't even realize that Jaime was murdered. Yeah,
it's like
Ben.
Right in front of his face. And I think Ben even said something. What did he say? He was like saying, yeah, there's one close by. Like, I always keep talking about that because it's so big for him to say that. Like, he was like, yeah, there's one close by, like, talking about burning it down. And Jung-soo's like, he just doesn't see it.
Yeah, Jung-soo's like, bitch, where?
Yeah, exactly. But
I looked all over the damn place.
Right, but it's Jaime. It's right in front of your face. And then it's like you said, when they finally depart for the last time, and they don't see each other, she leaves. It's really sad. He calls her a whore, pretty much. And it's just like, and he didn't know that was going to be the last time. But in that same night, he told Ben, he was like, I'm in love with her. There's just so much going on in that movie.
Yeah, and
it's crazy.
You remember, there's a scene in the movie after the last time that they're together. He gets a phone call from her, and it sounds like someone's yelling and like shoving something. Remember that?
When she was in Africa?
No, after he called her a whore, and then they drove away. Like, it seemed like it must have been like a few days after that night. He got a phone call from Jaime, and it was like someone kind of muffled yelling, and it sounded like someone was like searching in a bag for something, shuffling, yeah.
Right.
And then I think he either hung up or the other person hung up.
I think obviously maybe that didn't stick because throughout the whole movie, there was somebody calling him. And I never got, okay, was it Ben? Was it Jaime? Was it his dad?
It was
his mom. We don't know.
We do know. It was his mom.
I thought his mom was dead.
No, his
Where's
mom.
his
He meets
mom?
his mom in the movie. Remember, she's wearing the pink and she has the cat
Oh,
meowing
but why does
notification
she-
on her phone.
But why does she keep hanging up?
Because she's nervous to talk to him. She said it. She explained it in the movie. She's like,
Alright, well, I guess I
always
wasn't
call,
there.
but once I hear your voice, I get like too nervous to
Oh,
talk back or
okay.
something
Maybe I
like
wasn't
that.
paying attention during that time. Sorry.
Yeah, probably. Both times you watched the movie, you didn't pay attention to that part, apparently.
Yeah, that sucks. But anyways, getting back on track, I wanted to ask you, and I think you were gonna ask me this. If you were, I hope you were.
I believe so.
In Burning, is Ben really a killer? Or is Jong-soo letting his poor mental health consume him? What do you think?
Well, personally, there's no way Ben didn't do that shit. Ben
Right.
is a son of a bitch. Ben is a motherfucker, okay? I hate Ben. He's so smug.
Yeah.
And he's sociopathic. One of the first things he says to Jong-soo is, oh, he's such a dick. The first things he says to him, Jong-soo's like, oh, what do you do for a living? He's like, well, to put it simply, because you wouldn't understand, I play.
Yeah.
The fuck does that mean, dude? The fuck does that mean?
Yeah,
And then,
during the whole movie, he's like that to Jong-soo. He's so, like, patronizing and just like, oh, you wouldn't get it. Like, I'm rich. I've got the house. I've got the car. Like, you just don't get it type thing.
He's so smug, but the second thing that he says to Jong-soo after saying, oh, I play, blah, 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 is that he goes on about how he's never cried his whole life. The most, first of all, annoying.
Woo! Red flag.
Yeah, annoying, red flag, sociopathic. Why are you telling me this? We just met.
Yeah.
It's so...
Then Amy's over here, like, bawling her fucking eyes out, like, over being in Africa. Just complete opposites.
It is a game to him. He said what he does is that he plays. Killing these women, it's a game to him. He's laughing at Jaime breaking down over not being in Africa anymore.
Yeah, he even says something super rude. He's like, oh, watching people cry is interesting.
Yeah, I love watching people cry because I can't cry. I don't cry and I can't cry. Fuck you, Ben.
Yeah.
God damn, I hate that guy.
Yeah, he's hot, but he sucks.
Ugh, he's so... And he's he gets rather scary after a while. Once Jong-soo starts finding more and more proof against him, he gets... There's a certain point in the movie where he knows that he knows. Ben knows that Jong-soo knows. But he knows, rather, he thinks that he can't do anything about it. And he toys with him.
Because there's no proof. Right.
Yeah, when they're at parties or get-togethers or whatever, he just looks at him, right? He just yawns and just looks at him in such a way, I want to kill that guy.
Yeah. It's rude for sure.
And
It's like egging him on. It's like, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, it's toying with him. I know you know, and we both know there's nothing that you can do.
Yeah, exactly. So do you think it was both? So you do think Ben was the killer, obviously, but do you also agree that Jong-soo was definitely letting his mental health get a little cray cray?
Yes. Because he fucking killed him. You don't kill somebody if you're not like unwell.
Well, I guess I was talking about like the lead up to it, by stalking him, by like watching him, just like it was a lot. It was
this is all he had to do in his life at this point, right? He thought he had a thing going with Jaime. They had sex once, which also I do want to talk about the differences in the intimacy scenes in Parasite and Burning. There's something to talk about there.
Let's do it, because the Parasite one is 10 out of 10.
You want to talk? Let's talk about it right now.
Okay. Should we bring it in?
Sure. I mean, when we watched Burning, you referred to the sex scene as cute, which I disagree with fundamentally.
It's cute in the sense that like Jong-soo is like very timid and shy and and seems very introverted and just like, in his head. And this is before we see Jong-soo go off the rails. So we just think he's like some kind of weird dude, whatever. And the sex is awkward, and that it's cute. Like it's especially because Hae-mi and Jung-soo used to know each other when they were little.
He called her ugly.
Yeah, he called her ugly, and then he has sex with her. Great. But no, I thought it was cute. It was awkward, but I mean, have we not all been there? Your first time. Obviously, it wasn't their first time, but it felt like it. It felt nice. Like, it felt meaningful, kind of.
Yeah,
for their friendship, I guess. I don't know. Do you get what I mean?
I could understand that, I suppose. I'll give you that. That's your interpretation. I don't know why I'm being demeaning. Sorry. Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that interpretation.
But I can see where you're coming from, saying it's kind of weird and like...
Well, not even that. To me, it's almost like... not, how do I word it? Like, sealing their fates. This moment that they have together, this intimate moment, is sealing their fates. That's what I can describe it. It's
that's so good.
It's like some kind of pact of doom. Like, it's not meant to be good. Because if they
never had sex, he would have never probably, come back over, watched the cat, got involved, went back and picked them up at the airport, blah, blah, blah. It had a whole string of events just because they met up and hooked up.
Yeah, it's like a tragedy. Them having sex, to me, is a tragedy.
That's I never even thought about it that deep, and I think that's a very, very great interpretation. I agree. But I just took it for face value and thought it was cute at the time. But now that you say that, no, it is true. I definitely agree that it changed everything.
Yeah, and it's almost like it was, though tragic, to me it almost seems destined. Mm-hmm. Like, this kind of had to happen, as unfortunate as it is. And I feel, to a degree, there's almost like some kind of degree of like, this could be victim blaming here, hopefully not. A degree of like some succubusness going on, where like she just like kind of leads him into this, and now he's in this situation. Like,
and then she comes back from Africa with another guy.
Wait, even beyond that, not saying that she deserved to die, but like the way it happens, it's almost like she knew, like she led him down the path of killing Ben. Almost, this was. I don't know if I sound crazy.
Even though it had happened before she ever met Ben. Right. I agree with the destiny type thing. I definitely think, because who knows? Ben could have always kept killing. I think it was good that, like, I think it was destined to happen, like you said, because Ben died because of it. Jung-soo would have never been, Ben could have gotten rid of Hae-mi and then went on back to the next girl, and Jung-soo would have never even been in the picture to kill him.
I don't even think that necessarily Ben dying is a good thing. I'll tell you why. Because though I am like 100% convinced that he is a serial killer, he could not be. We still don't know for sure.
I guess.
Even if he is a serial killer, when his body's the news report on it is just going to be some innocent wealthy dude got stabbed and burned, right?
Exactly. You're never going to know.
Even if he was a killer or not, it can never truly be proven. And I thought about this a lot, like, what's Jong-soo's next course of action after the movie ends? There's no.
I need to know more.
He's going to get caught because whether it be on a phone call or on text or email or something, he told Ben to meet him there.
Right.
And that's where his body will be. Mm-hmm. So he's going to get caught. Right? They look at Ben's and Jong-soo's records. They met there.
You're right.
And
you're right.
He's dead there. So they did it.
You're right. I didn't even think about it. But didn't the car catch on fire? So the phone could be destroyed. So actually he may get away with it.
Could be.
I think the movie was trying to say he got away with it by the way it ended, because I feel like in my opinion, I feel like if he did get caught, we would have seen that. And it would have like showed him in jail. I don't know. I don't know. I like to pretend he didn't get caught.
I think he's getting caught. There's no way to me that he doesn't get caught, and that adds to the it adds to it thematically, and I think more than
Sure.
having it be shown, having the movie end with just him burning, or not him burning, Ben burning, having him driving away from the burning car
Car.
with Ben's corpse in it.
Right.
It's like he's I don't know. He could have gotten away with it. Now that I think about it, he's driving away from the
Butt
the
ass
burning.
naked, just like doesn't give a fuck.
But
you
yeah,
know?
well, beyond that, beyond his physicality,
No,
you know,
but I think the butt ass naked proves like he's like I don't care, like, and how it shows kind of how unhinged he is, and just like how psychotic he is at the very end of the movie after
That's
just
true.
killing someone, stalking someone, figuring out going to Hamy's house and talking to that lady, just all the things. He just lost himself really bad.
yeah, and you know
And
what?
I think
That could
that's
be
why
true.
he acted on it.
Okay, maybe you're right.
Go
then. I
me,
could kind
go
of go with that
me.
because also him being naked, it's almost like a rebirth. Almost, he's reborn. He killed the person that was affecting him so much, set it on fire, and then from flames he's reborn. Somewhat. He's driving away. You know, the shot. He's leaving that burning, that passion that burned inside of him. That consumed
Yeah,
him. He's
that
leaving
whole
it,
thing with
and he's
Amy,
reborn.
he's
He's
leaving.
naked. He's new. Whether or not he gets caught, probably will. But if there's probably gonna be a few days where he's gonna either really regret that or feel great.
Yeah, I think he would feel great. I'd like to think I'd like to think he's so out of it and lost his mind over it. Oh, that he would be similar.
Oh,
Not really, but it reminds me of the way. Hold on. It reminds me of the way that Ki Woo acted
That's
after
true.
from Parasite, the son.
yeah.
After everything that happened, just like psychotic and just like fucked up and just lost, just totally off the rails, different.
Yeah, and then just takes the place of the guy that's living under there. But Parasite soon. We're not done with burning.
Yes.
I could see it also the way that Ben acted towards Jong-soo. It was almost like he was grooming him to become the next serial killer. The way he would act
Loosely
towards
though,
him.
it was weird. It's like if he really wanted him to do it, he would kind of like show him how or something at least. But I don't know.
Well, because
I get where you're
mean,
coming
he puts
from.
the idea in his head. Like, okay, did you read the short story it's based off of?
No, I told you I didn't.
Okay, I thought for some reason you might have, even after you told me you didn't.
Oh no, I was
I don't know
getting
why.
ready.
But yeah,
You
it
told me I
says-
didn't have to, so I was like, whatever.
Yeah, well, I can. There's nothing that I can't tell you right now that won't.
Right.
It's fine.
Yeah.
In it, after they have the discussion about how Ben says that he burns in the book, it's barns rather than greenhouses. So he talks
Right.
about how he burns barns in the night when they're smoking and drinking, and so Jong-soo, which I don't believe in the short story any of the characters have names, so I'm just gonna call them by their movie names.
Sure.
Jong-soo goes on runs looking for the barns to see the barn that he burned. Can't find it, obviously, and it explicitly says in the story that Jong-soo believes that Ben told him that to put the thought of Jong-soo himself doing it in his head.
And that's why in the movie he wakes up or he dreams that he's a kid finding the greenhouse burning.
Yeah, well, I believe that also has something to do with when he said he was a kid, his dad made him burn all his mom's clothes. I believe that might have been a flashback.
Oh, yeah. But didn't he dream that as well?
He did.
Because he woke up. I think it's all connected.
Are
The
you telling
burning,
me-
the fire.
Are you telling me, Emily, that you don't dream flashbacks that are important to the plot? You don't have dreams
No.
about what happened when you were 7 that's important to the plot of the movie?
No, I don't.
Well, yeah. So yeah, I do think it's almost like passing the mantle. Like Ben is in a way, the way he acts toward Jong-soo, telling him you need to get that
Oh,
in
yeah.
your heart. You need to get that
Oh,
feeling.
yeah.
And Ben gets
Yeah.
that feeling by killing women, lonely women. He's telling him you got to feel that. You need that. He's like grooming him to pass the mantle to him.
Right, but I agree, but it's light grooming. He's he's planting a seed. He's planting
He's
a
doing what
seed.
now?
No.
He's lightly grooming and planting his seed.
No.
Do you want to go on the record with this?
No. So I think that he was grooming him in some way, but I think he was just planting the seed in his head that, like, yeah. I can't elaborate anymore because it was so vague and it wasn't like, it was like, I think Jung-Soo actually was like, oh yeah, you're actually burning greenhouses, right? Like he took it very literally.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's very literal, Jung-Soo.
Right, and Ben was literally vague and cryptic the entire movie. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's grooming, but it's not because Jung-Soo didn't get it. So it's like, I don't know. It's weird. It's very weird.
Yeah, there's a lot that's left to the individual person to make their own conclusions, of which we seemingly have different conclusions as to what the movie ultimately means.
Yeah.
I see it as a complete tragedy, an unavoidable one at that. All the three main characters in it, this was unavoidable. They were all meant to meet each other and all this stuff was meant to happen, but it's just tragic. And
for sure,
Jaime and Jung-Soo having sex is what started it all, and that scene is just, it's almost like a horror scene to me. Right? It's like no, don't do it, don't go in there.
Right, I get it. No, I get it. It's like the door. They're opening the door.
Yeah.
Like of what is yet to come.
Yeah, it's like there's a direct correlation to them having sex and him killing Ben.
Yeah. They're like bonded together.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably a word that I feel like I was looking for earlier. Bonded, exactly.
Yes.
But okay.
I agree.
Speaking of sex scenes, Parasite. It has one.
So good.
It's a rough transition, but Parasite.
Yeah, and it's very awkward because it's
rather late in the movie. let's talk about some other stuff first. It was just a segue, a rough segue.
Right. Speaking of sex, here's Parasite.
It's got sex in it.
Right.
What a movie.
Okay. Which one? Parasite?
Well, both, but Parasite.
Yes. Oh, so incredible. I mean, I can't even put into words. Like, I like Burning, I really do, but I love Parasite. Like, I want to show it to my friends. Like, I wouldn't show my friends Burning because they'd be like, okay, this is kind of boring, this is slow. But Parasite, I can see why it did so well and was so popping off the way it did. Because it's amazing. Incredible. It really is. It's so good.
Unlike Burning, it's very fast and precise, and it does not leave anything to the imagination.
Right. It's very like cut and dry in your face, literally cutting things scary in your face.
It's such a good screenplay. Every single thing, it's so masterfully crafted. I don't know how to describe it. Every thing that's in the wealthy family's house, which is what's their names? The Park House, I suppose, or no?
Sure. The dad's. Oh.
Yeah, the Park House.
Yeah.
Because the dad's name is Park. Yes, the Park House.
Right. We'll just say that.
Every single thing in the Park House comes into play at some point. And it's all just there. It's not like, in movies when someone says, "Oh, hey, look, I have this thing. This is going to be important later."
Right. It's all very subtly placed, and then eventually it comes out, and you're just like, "Oh shit!" Like, for instance, if I can bring up something, go ahead.
It's our podcast.
Yeah. So, for instance, like just the subtle hint of when when Kiwoo and Dahae are studying together. He is her tutor, and we'll talk about that too.
We will talk about that.
She says, she's like, yeah, we can't have peaches. We can have they have like an array of fruit, but she's like, we can't have peaches because the maid is allergic. And you're like, okay, whatever, Well, that becomes a very serious thing later in the movie, because then the family gets together and collectively weasels their way into the house. And one way that they do that is by, I guess poisoning. She doesn't die from, what is it? Like, she has an allergy to peaches, so they use that against her. But just something like that, just something so subtly mentioned, you're just like, okay, whatever. But then later you're like, oh, shit. Like, there's a lot of that in that movie for me.
Yeah, that sequence. Oh, my God, that sequence is so good. It's just masterful. I yelled about it the other day. You remember that? Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna get like that on the pod, but just like, wow,
so good.
Like, only Bong Joon-Ho could have done that. Okay, I love you, Bong. Mm-hmm. I love you.
Me too.
I can't imagine anyone else that could have done that. So it makes me go like that. It makes me go like this.
Yeah, it's really good. It's
so many. It's like a short film. That montage, that sequence.
Yeah.
It could be its own movie, and I would watch it every fucking day.
Yeah, it is so, and that's how like the whole movie is just like when you see the son come in and try to be a tutor, then you have the dad, and then you have the mom, and then you have the sister, not in that order, but you just see all of them work, like do their con artistry and work together to like make this scheme happen. It's so... I didn't... When I watched Parasite for the first time, I thought it was a zombie movie.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was about to watch. I was like, yeah, I think this is a zombie movie, right? Because the cover kind of looks...
It's a bit of an
suspicious.
odd cover. Yeah.
Right, it looks weird. So I was like, oh, maybe
bodies.
it's like... I don't know, I was thinking Train to Busan, possibly, like something like that. I was so surprised and so shocked, and it's so... You just love the poor family, but like, I love them in a way, but like, who can I compare him to? I guess Jung-soo in Burning.
Oh, there's a question. We have the question.
Oh, good. I love, I love them all. Like they show in each movie, each character shows their heart. And whether it's towards their family or to whoever, and you see that like human side of them, but then you also see a really fucked up side of them, and it's just a weird place to be in, to just be like, I love you, but I fucking hate you. You know, like you're terrible, but like I'm kind of rooting for you. I don't know, like it's weird. I felt that way in both movies watching them.
To have that nuance, not black and white, but shades of gray. But okay, so.
Yes.
I ask you a question that I've just merely thought of in my head. Both films feature the main characters doing unsavory things, so to speak. There's murder and whatnot. Are we meant to root for them the whole time, or is there a point in these films where they just go too far and we just cannot empathize with them anymore?
Well, I'll answer and then you can answer. I think that well, okay, you can't empathize at all with Ben. He's fucking hot, and that's all he has going for him. You know what I mean? Literally, to me, I'm just like, yeah, you're scary, and you're narcissistic, and bye. So no, I don't feel anything for him, but like with Jung-soo, like I said, with the whole sex scene, I could see like his vulnerability and him just being introverted. We're all kind of like that. We're all kind of weird and introverted at times, but then you start to see how off the rails he gets, like we've said. But at the same time, it's like, it's kind of warranted because he knows something's up. I don't know. He's different than the family, than,
the Kim family?
The Kim family, sure. We'll call them that. The poor family and Parasite.
I thought that was their name. Maybe I just made something up. But
Key Take and I don't know. We'll just say the poor family. Is that okay?
I mean they're not real people. They're not going to get offended by us calling them poor.
Yeah. So the poor family, you see them like, with each other. But actually, I liked them before I saw them interact with each other when they all decided to stay the night at the Park family's house when they went out of town. Mm-hmm. The dad was so... You remember when they were like all drunk together? The whole family was just like drunk and eating food and being crazy. Mm-hmm. It's just, I was like, I'm like losing empathy for you guys. I feel bad because obviously they lose their house? I don't know. It flooded. That was very confusing. But they went through some shit, but that doesn't mean you have to be a fucking con artist and be a piece of shit to amazing people who want to help you and get people fired and just be terrible and kill someone. The dad kills someone. Never mind. I forgot about that. Like, yeah, they just I tried to empathize and I can't.
Mm-hmm. Well,
they have it hard, but none of it is. It's not okay.
I wouldn't
for
go
them
as
being
far,
pieces of shit.
Would not go as far as to call the Park family amazing people, as you just did. They're not very.
I thought they
ultimately
were,
they're
okay.
Kind of not very good. But sorry. Yeah, Jong-soo's fucked.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, he's shy. Oh, he has sex. He's shy. Doesn't know what he's doing. Okay, he likes her. Okay, well now she's got a boyfriend. He murders her. He doesn't have evidence, so he goes crazy and kills Ben. He's upon first watch, I don't know. Upon first watch, I was kind of on Jong-soo's side. But like the more I see the movie, the more I'm like, this dude's he's like an incel.
Like, yeah, I don't. How about this? I'm not really on anyone's side.
Yeah.
I'm just. I sympathize and empathize with certain characters and certain things they go through, but overall, like you said, pretty much everyone is fucked in some way.
Yeah, and I mean the poor
1,000%.
The poor family in Parasite. They're good. They're interesting. They're compelling protagonists in a movie, but I would not want to know them in real life.
No.
Because they'd be conning left and right. They shouldn't be as compelling as they are, but they are compelling. And see the way that they weasel their way into this rich household is interesting, and they do lots of illegal things, but they're still kind of enjoyable to watch. So I guess you can be on their side for a little bit, but just once that doorbell rings that night when they're all there, it just all goes downhill from there. They just become desperate. They're, it's like what the poor mom said about her husband. If the rich family were to walk in right now, he'd scurry like a cockroach. Ultimately, they're parasites. They're just leeching off of...
Exactly, and that's why I fucking hate them, but I feel bad because look at what they live in. They're all just really trying to help each other out, but there are other ways to do that besides conning.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel bad for them, but I kind of don't. Like, more majority, I do not feel bad for them. But I see their struggle. How about that? I see their struggle. I see Jung-soo's struggle, and I'm like, that sucks.
Yeah, especially...
That's what I mean.
They're essentially, after the maid comes that one night, they are essentially... A mirror is put in front of them, and they have to look at themselves. Mm-hmm. There's another poor family. That fucking crazy-ass motherfucker living down there.
Everybody's crazy in this fucking movie.
But that dude's crazy.
Yeah,
Stockholm
I would be
syndrome.
too if I was in a if I was in a basement for how long?
4 years?
How many years? Yeah. With no... Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're putting... Now there's a mirror. Okay, there's these poor people. They're in virtually the same situation as us, relying on the Park family to live.
Mm-hmm.
They decide that they cannot coexist.
Right.
Which is probably not the best decision.
No,
they could have
I
worked
agree.
something out, but they're both just so desperate and they want it all. That's the thing. Both of these families, they just got too greedy, and that's where you lose, I personally at least, lose the empathy for them.
Yeah.
Where they go too far, they go too greedy, they cannot come to an agreement. The old maid and the crazy ass motherfucker living down in the bomb shelter cannot come to an agreement with the poor family. They choose violence,
Yeah.
and they choose a lot of violence.
Well, and they're down there for a similar reason because of money.
Yeah.
Because
Tax
they're
collectors.
running from the loan sharks. Exactly. So
Just like what Ben says, that's why Jaime disappeared, is because she's running from tax collectors.
exactly. But that is a very common thing in Korea.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, like I told you, commit suicide over that because
Yeah.
it's so prevalent in their society. So
Yeah. So Ben from Burning
it's-
uses that to his advantage when he kills Jaime. Sorry. Just
right.
fucking
But
Ben.
no, I just think it's crazy how the the poor family and the guy that's living in the bomb shelter that's married to the maid, money is like the root of all their issues.
Mm-hmm.
And they both have caused all of this for themselves.
Yeah.
It's pretty
but
crazy.
There's a brief moment in the movie where, do you remember when the maid and the crazy guy have the poor family essentially held hostage, and they're relaxing and they're listening to music and all that, and they reflect on the short period of time where they had unrestricted access to the house as well. And
Yeah,
they're,
and they were
They're
dancing,
in the
yeah.
sunlight, they're dancing, and it's almost kind of beautiful in a way.
Yeah.
So it gives you empathy for them as well. They
Well, because they're not con artists. I feel bad for them. I'm like, hey, I get it, but they're
Yeah.
not total pieces of shit. She wasn't a bad lady, the maid.
That is
she
true.
She was just, didn't know, she had nowhere to go. So then I do feel bad for her, but then you have these other people who are con artists, got the driver fired, got the maid fired, got...
That's about it. Well, when it comes to firing, that's it. But Jessica,
but just,
Jessica, what's her fake name?
put the underwear in the car.
Yeah, the daughter.
Just caused turmoil
Ki-jung.
between the family. Yeah, and the fucking son tutoring the daughter.
Yeah, let's get
who
into
is
that.
In high school.
I need to drink some water before I get into this.
Same.
Ki Woo is the
We
poor
need to talk
son.
about Kiwoo.
We need to talk about Ki Woo. He is the poor son in the movie. He's probably early mid-20s. He's college age.
Yes,
And he tutors Dahi. Hopefully hopefully I'm saying that right.
Yes.
Is the poor daughter. No, sorry. The rich
Oh
daughter.
god.
And what, in like their first, maybe second meeting, they kiss. And seemingly from there on out, they are involved in a romance. And what the fuck?
It's not okay. And honestly, I'm very shocked that like
Oh wait, hold on.
movie-
Sorry, I think I, for some reason, forgot to mention the daughter, the rich daughter. She's like a freshman or like sophomore in high school. She's like that age.
Yeah, she's not a senior. She's not like
No.
18 at
No.
all.
Yeah.
She acts kind of young, like
She looks
very
and acts
15.
really young.
Yeah,
And-
she acts very young.
Yeah, Kiwoo and his friend, they discuss her, and his friend says, I have to wait a few years when she's in university to ask her out.
Yes,
So
yes,
she's young.
yes.
She's young.
Right. So I wonder if that guy, the previous tutor and her, had something going on.
Well, I think, but that's also a kind of, you see, I don't know everything about South Korean culture, so maybe it's just more common for an age gap like that in South Korea. I am not sure. Because why would you have two characters of which are supposed to be protagonists? I mean, Kiwoo's friend is in it for a little bit, but he's not meant to be a bad guy.
You know what? Maybe that is the case because, like I was gonna say, why would they put that in the movie and just not talk about it?
Yeah, well,
like he didn't get caught doing whatever he did with the daughter,
Yeah.
So I feel like if it was a bad thing, maybe he would have gotten caught. But maybe that was also, it definitely was a manipulation tactic.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
You know?
It's definitely more leverage to leech upon. When the poor family's all drunken in the living room of the rich house, Kiwoo talks about how, I can marry Dahi, and then, these can be our in-laws and all this stuff. So it's not like he really likes her. Ultimately,
right, it's like a
it's
scheme
manipulation to get more money.
Marry rich.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I think that then the movie is not portraying that relationship as good or as normal. I think it is very much meant to be not good. Meant
it's
to
secretive, right?
Meant to be deception and manipulation.
Because a great thing is that, I guess this could be like an example of the daughter, Dahi, whatever her, however you say it, she ends up texting Kiwoo and is like, hey, we're having a birthday party for the song, and mom wants you to come. So it's like, I feel like pretty much just finishing the fact that yes, it's a manipulation tactic, and I think it's just another way for him to like stay in with the family by having her be so infatuated with him. Why would she get him fired? She's like, oh no, mom, I still need a tutor, so it keeps him locked in, is what I mean.
Just digging his claws into that family any way that they can. The poor family tries every single thing.
Oh, and we need to talk about
some of that money. Go ahead.
We need to talk about the sister
making shit up.
Ki-jung making shit up and saying that the son has like some trauma,
schizophrenia,
and the mom is just like, believes it because something did actually happen to him. Yeah, something
happened.
But she didn't know that. The Ki-jung didn't know that, so she's just a very good liar and she's the worst one. She's the scariest one. She's very manipulative and very it's scary.
She forged the documents and everything.
Yeah, she's good. She's a very good con artist. It's crazy.
But about that, I have a real quick question about the whole thing with the son being traumatized by the crazy guy coming up. What do you think about the scene, the flashback where it shows the crazy guy's head slowly coming up from the stairs?
Oh, I can't even think about that. I just got it in my head when you said that, and I was like, oh, that was terrifying.
That scene is hilarious. To me,
it's funny?
That is hilarious.
I mean, it's funny because it's like, it's the guy, right? It's
funny.
The
way he looks, he's like...
But I could imagine, I guess I put myself in Dasong's shoes and was like, if I was a kid, you're damn right I'd be shitting bricks too.
Seizing.
But then he has a seizure, and I'm like, okay, like, that gave you a seizure?
Well, he has to have a seizure later in the climax of the movie when he sees him.
And it's funny because they're having a seizure, and the mom's like, we need to get to the hospital, my son's having a seizure. But then they have all the time in the world to like look at the dad and see if he's okay. I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, I really wanted to get your opinion on that specific flashback because when I saw it in theaters, I thought it was funny then. I still think it's funny. It's just so...
You think scary things are funny, though?
Well, I think not all the time.
I get... Well, with other movies we've watched.
Well, I mean, Terrifier 2...
Things that I have found scary, you've been, like, laughing your ass off, so...
I don't know. I feel like... I don't know. Some stuff is funny.
Yeah. I mean, it's...
This was funny. He pokes his head out. He's, like, so pale and just bug-eyed. And he's just staring at him.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
No, it is. It is kind of funny. So yeah, so I'll go ahead and ask you, how do the differences in editing and cinematography styles inform the films? For example, Parasite's use of montages versus Burning's use of long takes.
Well, I'm glad you asked that question that you just thought of right now.
Yeah, I did just think of that.
It's worded very well for just a new thought.
Thanks, I learned it from you.
Wow, that's impressive. But yeah, I mean, with Parasite, it's so stylized. This is there to me. Parasite and Burning are on almost opposite ends of the spectrum of naturalistic filmmaking and stylized filmmaking. Right, like
I
you
agree.
have, obviously documentaries are like the most naturalistic because it's real life and they're just people interviewing people and recording stuff.
Right.
With the long takes, it's almost to a degree, it's almost like Red Dead Redemption 2 or something, where it's just like a third person on Jong-soo for like a lot of the movie. You know what I mean?
Right. We're like following him.
Yeah, we're just like following him, and it's just someone with a camera following Jong-soo around. Super long takes in a lot of the movies. Like the sex scene, I think is maybe entirely one take. Maybe there's two shots, but it's an incredibly. It adds to the way it informs Burning. Is that it just adds such the naturalism, such the feeling that you're there with Jong-soo, feeling the things that he's feeling,
Yes.
to
Yes.
you know using that style of filmmaking helps you better get in the headspace of the protagonist. Otherwise, you
I
may
agree.
not go along with him. He might go too far, even though, in my opinion, he does go too far in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But you may be more willing to go along with him because of the way the movie feels. It feels like you're there with him. So,
Yeah. It puts you a lot more in his shoes than the opposite spectrum, like Parasite. I felt like I was, like you said, pretty much, Parasite feels more like a movie than Burning does.
yeah.
Burning, I was like, well, this shit could happen to me. Like it feels very believable and like it happens every day. Parasite, not so much. Doesn't mean it's any better or worse.
Yeah,
I'm
they're
just saying
different.
they feel very different, yes.
Yeah, Parasite is such a movie. It's the movie.
It is. That's why it
so
did so good in theaters, and it was in theaters
yeah.
and blew up. Was Burning in theaters? No.
I'm not certain. I don't think so. If so,
If it
not
was-
to the extent that Parasite was.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, Parasite. It's so I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say the word. Fincher-esque.
Yeah.
It's Fincher-esque. It's Hitchcockian. Super precise. All methodically planned out. As I said earlier, everything in the movie is something. It all means something, and just like
Yeah.
the motif of the elevation and how elevation informs the movie. The poor family's halfway underground, and the rich family's like on this hill.
Yeah.
Like pretend my camera is the entire city they're in. The Park family's down here. The rich family is halfway, all the way down there. And
Literally, because one of them gets flooded and the other one's completely safe
literally.
and fine. There's a
What-
lot of symbolism.
Yeah, what to the rich family, sorry, what to the poor family was, literally their entire house getting flooded. To the rich family was, oh, that was some nice rain last night.
Oh, and they literally said that, and you're
Yeah.
just like gutted. Like you're just like, oh my god, like that hurt. And
Yeah.
then see, that's what I was talking about. Empathy. I feel bad for them. I'm like, yeah, you guys suck, but fuck, like that sucks. Like what you guys just went through.
Yeah. Yeah, and so,
And that's why the dad ultimately cracks.
yeah. The only way that Parasite could have conveyed the things that it conveyed is the way that it did, the way it was shot, the way it was stylized. There was no other way that this movie could have been as effective as it was without being so precise. Did you know this? A lot of the framing in the movie, like how the shots are composed, has lines dividing the poor family and the rich family. So visually, you're meant to just visually through the movie, you're meant to understand that these people are separate and they are not meant to come together. And look what happens when they
Right.
come together. Like class warfare. People are
Yes.
stabbing each other with shish kebabs and
Disaster.
shit.
Yeah. Death. A lot. Yeah, it's chaos.
Yeah.
And the secret in the bunker, the bomb shelter, was never supposed to be uncovered.
Yeah.
This family really fucked it up for everybody.
Yeah.
For themselves, it was
All because of greed.
but that's Yeah, exactly. That's crazy.
There's a difference between being needy, being poor and needing money, and being greedy. They got to the point where they were fine. If they just kept up doing what they were doing, they would have been fine. But they got greedy.
Yep, and they took it a step too far, and well, no, they took it 20 steps too far, not just one. Yeah, and people died.
Yeah, in both families.
Yep.
And outside of families,
and both families had murderers.
So I have a question a question that just suddenly came to my head. Then related to the violence. So how does the framing of violence in each film affect the themes and the vibes and the tone, right? So, I mean, that garden party massacre, and when Jong-Soo kills Ben. Super different.
Yes, not the same at all. There was even the pacing. First of all, the pacing of the films are very different. But of both violent scenes, which, there really was just one big violent scene in each movie, a lot more anxiety and a lot more, I don't even know what the word to say is, like, about the garden party massacre. It was just very fast, and a lot happened. And it was so, I mean, I guess you could see Jung-soo killing Ben. Like, you're saying, okay, well, they're meeting up alone. What the fuck? Like, what's gonna happen, right? You could predict that, even though we didn't. I didn't know it was coming. But with the garden party, it's so eerie because everyone's happy. It's a birthday party. For Christ's sakes, the dad has, like, an Indian thing on his head. They're like playing dress up. And then the poor dad, Ki Take, just loses it.
Yeah. And the shot,
it's scary.
The shot where when the crazy guy comes up from the basement and he goes in the kitchen and he grabs, like, the biggest knife he could find.
Oh, that reminded me of Burning.
Yeah.
The slowness of it, like the build-up, I guess.
Yeah, that shot. When I saw this movie in theaters, I was filled with so much, like, dread. Like, what the fuck is about to happen right now?
Yeah.
This crazy ass man, blood all over his face, grabs the biggest knife he could find and goes to where all the people are. I was like, okay, shit is about to occur.
And the fact that he kills the daughter of all people is so...
Yeah, I think he just...
I think it was random, right? He just literally stabbed
Not necessarily.
Somebody.
I think it was the first person of the poor family that he found.
No, I don't think it was, like, some random person. No, I know because, after what they had been through...
Yeah.
However long before that. Right. So, but it's crazy that he picked he didn't pick the daughter, but it's crazy the daughter died. You would think it would be the son or the dad, but...
Yeah, you would think the son died, but what fucking happened to him? My God, that was brutal.
Yeah, oh my God, I thought he was
around
dead!
His neck, the way that it just snapped him back. Oh.
Yeah,
God
I know, I was
damn.
like, how is your neck not broken or your esophagus completely ruined for life?
Hits him with the rock twice. Like, goddamn, man, is once not enough?
Yeah. I definitely thought he was dead when I saw the blood pooling.
Yeah.
But he wasn't, somehow.
Somehow. But yeah, the violence, it's super fast. There's like, there's like, shots are going, there's a shot like almost every second in that garden party massacre. And you can barely, your brain is it's so
just
fast
barely
that your brain is
absorbing
just understanding it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then something else happens.
Yeah, it's just this shot, this here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so, it's, every shot, like, like I said, every shot is purposefully shown. There's nothing that isn't gonna take you out to any degree. Every shot is what you're meant to see.
Exactly.
And it's just so it's such quick cuts, but still good. There's
Effective. Yes.
yeah, there's a lot of movies when there's quick cuts in action and it's just fucking
Yeah.
unlegible. You don't know what the fuck's happening.
Right. It makes the movie less desirable, but this one you're just like, what? Like
Yeah.
it's so.
It's like you're there,
It's
kind
good.
of.
Yeah.
'Cause,
It's scary.
I mean,
It's anxiety inducing.
Yeah.
100%. It works. It really works.
Yeah, that hecticness is,
Yes.
if you were just at a party and then some crazy dude with blood covered on his face just runs up to the girl holding the cake and just fucking stabs her, you're gonna be freaking the fuck out.
Exactly.
So they conveyed that really well, so how the violence is framed in Burning,
Ow.
completely different, utterly entirely different. First of all, the violence in Burning is much shorter.
Oh yeah, and you have to think about the whole fighting with the maid and her husband and the poor family. There was violence there, There was little bits of violence in Parasite. With Burning, there was like no violence except for at the very end.
Yeah, and it's so
literally, it's crazy.
It's, at least for the viewer, for the person watching, it's impersonal. It's like almost in the background. Right, like the camera's over here.
The way it's shot, right.
It happens all the way back there. Like if you weren't paying 100% attention, you almost wouldn't even know that Jong-Soo just stabbed.
Right,
Ben.
it happens so quick. You think they're just gonna like get in a scuffle,
but
then he fucking stabs him, and you're just like, what?
Yeah. And
oh god, it's sad. Oh, I can't even think about it.
It's almost like, I'm sure it was shot with budget in mind. They couldn't have too much prosthetics, so they probably shot it from a distance for that reason. But it adds something to it. Like,
I love it.
It's just naturalistic. I don't know. Like,
yes, it's real. It feels real.
Yeah. When someone gets stabbed in real life, you don't see a close up of the stab wound like in Parasite, right? They stab them, and it's just you can see the shot.
If someone's close, like someone's close and would stab, like that's way more realistic.
Like you're standing over here, they're over there, and someone gets stabbed. You're not gonna see it happen. You're gonna see Ben running up to his car covered in blood like he did. It's just so naturalistic and intense. I would say the intensity is on par with Parasite, just in a completely different way.
In a different way. Mm-hmm.
They achieve the same tones by doing entirely different things.
Yeah, it's so good. I love that.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah, it's just they're good movies. These South Koreans, they know what they're doing.
American movies suck compared.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Most of them.
Even K-dramas better than the stupid dramas we have here.
A-dramas? American dramas?
Yeah, A-dramas. Yeah, they suck. They're not as good, in my opinion. So yeah, I wanted to ask you. So both of the films have similar aspects of South Korean society, but are they both saying the same thing? Do you think?
See, I've pondered this for a while because Parasite, its whole thing is about class. The whole movie's about class. Like what I said with the higher and the lower and the division in the frame and everything. The entire movie is about the class differences, the class structure in South Korea and everything. So it's saying, obviously, that this structure is bad. And look, all these wealthy people get all this stuff, and the poor people have to live in semi-basements. So it seeks to, change the way things are structured. And I think with Burning, it took me a while to kind of ponder it, as I said earlier, like if it's what it is actually saying about class. And ultimately, I do not think that it's necessarily saying something about class in South Korea, but I think it just uses the problems with class in South Korea to strengthen Jong-Soo's motivations.
I think so too. Like with Ben really rubbing it in his face, really driving home the fact that he's rich.
Yeah.
Not just to him, but to us.
Yeah.
It's just the contrast is so different, and it speaks a lot.
Yeah.
It speaks volumes.
Yeah, it doesn't like Parasite points at the class divisions. This is wrong.
It very much shows you, hey, this is this and this is this. everything is a very like a little bit more muddled in Parasite. I mean, Burning, but I like it like that.
Burning just uses South Korean culture to its advantage to strengthen the main character's motivations. Meanwhile, Parasite spends its entire runtime critiquing South Korean culture.
Yes.
So they aren't ultimately saying the same thing about South Korean society, because one of them just straight up isn't saying something about South Korean society.
Right.
Especially
but they both
because
show it.
Yeah, especially because the short that Burning is based off of is a Japanese short story.
Oh,
So it's not a Korean short story, it's a Japanese one.
Korean.
So they're fairly similar. Ben in the short story is also a wealthy man. So that is an aspect that the adaptation shares. So it's just using the problem with South Korean culture to just strengthen the movie. So it's not ultimately saying anything about South Korean society, in my opinion.
Right, I agree. I think it's showing us how it is there. Like, I think it's showing us society, but it's not, like, you know, it's not making such a statement as Parasite. Like I said, it's very in your face. You don't have to use your brain a lot when watching Parasite. You can just take it for what it is, and you're like, okay, that's that, you know, like. But with Burning, obviously, we've spent how many times talking about like trying to decipher everything, pretty much. So
everything could mean everything in that movie.
Yeah, right, exactly. So I definitely agree with your answer. So in Parasite, is the fate of Ki-taek justified to you?
See, that's kind of complicated. To me, it's like a kind of yes and no, because I haven't heard any other people vent this frustration about the movie. I might be the only one, in this case, whatever, you know. But to me, the ending, like the whole everything after like the garden party massacre, where the whole ending where the son wakes up from brain surgery and he writes the letter, and then he reads the letter from his dad. I mean, okay, well, let's backtrack a little bit. I'm getting ahead of myself. I do think that where Ki-taek, the poor father, ends up is justified thematically. That fits. It's like a circle, a loop,
right.
A cycle of just like.
It's like you get what you give. Like Yeah.
So I think him being the one that lives down there now, lives in the nuclear bomb basement bunker. That's a lot of B words. Nuclear bomb basement bunker. Him ending up there is justified. It just would have been great. It would have been great to me if the movie just ended with showing him living under there. That's all the movie needed to do. If the movie just ended with showing that he lives under there now, great. But in my opinion, the movie just goes longer than it needs to, and I personally feel like the movie does not earn / justify the tone that the ending does. The tone of the ending is rather sad and solemn, and you're supposed to feel really bad for this poor son and his family. And to me, it just does not fit the tone of the entire movie. The entire movie is like a dark comedy. It's a dark comedy kind of heisty thriller, and then all of a sudden, after that garden party massacre, it's like a dark drama.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, look at the poor family. Look how they ended up. It's like, well, yeah, like now you want us to feel bad for them?
Yeah,
like after everything they've done, I kind of don't. Sorry.
Yeah, the ending goes a bit too long and doesn't really work for me. I think that they could have done that. They could have had all that stuff happen in the ending, but just framed it in a way to where it's not supposed to be so dark and dramatic, but made it just a bit more a bit more to where it has the same tone as the rest of the movie. It feels very different from the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't feel like like mischievous. It feels very serious and dark, and you're just like, okay, well,
feels like an
that
epilogue.
kind of it just like leaves you with like, all right, well, that's that. Like
the movie really ended when Ki-taek ran into the garage. And he runs into the garage, and then from there on out, he goes into the basement.
Right. Yeah, we didn't have to see how I mean, I liked seeing how the son was still checking the light, the light outside with the Morse code.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was kind of cool because it brings it right back around of how Da-song did that.
Yeah, oh, that was...
with the maids. Everything is tied together. Yeah. It's all tied together.
Yeah,
it's like
it's great because the whole time in the movie, you're seeing the light. You see the light like all the time in the movie before you even know that before it's him manually hitting it with his fucking head. It adds another layer to the movie upon rewatch. Because now you know every time you see that light turn on, there's this crazy ass motherfucker hasn't seen sunlight in 4 years,
in the basement,
smashing his head on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, that's an aside.
So, yes. So, what was your answer? Yes, you think it's justified, or no?
Sure. How Ki-taek, whatever, ends up is justified, but the movie focused on it just a bit too much.
Right, I understand. I agree. I think he got what was coming to him. Play with fire, you get burned.
Yeah. Play with crazy basement man, you become crazy basement man.
Yes, exactly. Literally, that's what happens. So funny. And I think that was my favorite part of the movie. Was how I'm trying to think of like what's that quote like pretty much like, you know, like if you're making, say for instance, someone's making fun of someone, well, don't make fun of them because you could end up in their position one day type thing. Not that they were making fun of them, but I'm just saying like he ended up being
let me try to do it for you.
Yes.
Don't belittle someone when they're in a position that you could easily be in.
Exactly. Because they're not rich, so who the fuck is he to think that, you know, that couldn't happen to him, and it does. So I'm just like, sucks to suck, bitch.
Yeah.
As I say all the time, that's my thing, right? Sucks to suck. Shouldn't have done what you did.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Don't diddly do it. Just don't do it. He got it. It happened to him. Now he lives in there, and he's gonna die there probably at some point. See, like and that's just too sad. It's just too sad.
Right, and does the mom and the son know that? Well, the son knows, but does the mom?
I don't know if he tells his mom. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because if she did, she'd probably try to do something.
Yeah.
But it's just sad. They don't have the dad. They don't have the daughter. They're stuck in that same house, as far as I know, even though it flooded. So I thought that was strange.
Water.
But it was like away. Bad.
Yeah,
but it was like up to here. So I'm like, how did you guys salvage your house? But all right. But yeah, so guess what? Nothing good ever came out of it for them.
Yeah, it brought everybody involved despair. Nobody gained from this.
They didn't gain shit from it, and that's a great lesson of the movie is like, don't be greedy. You know, like, don't put others like well-being or like do things at other people's expense just to benefit yourself, because it never works.
Yeah, you're just gonna fuck yourself over ultimately.
Exactly.
But hey, that's life.
Exactly. So yeah, I think a good ending question would be who's your favorite character in each of the movies and why?
For Burning, I mean, there's only so many characters in Burning.
There's 3.
So, I don't know. They're all very good. I don't like any of them. They're all insufferable people. Right. But all equally insufferable people in different ways.
Yes.
Probably, though, I'll say Ben because just of how passionate he makes me. Passionate hate, but passion's passion. Gotta give Steven Yeun or Yoon for that one. Amazing acting on his part. Great character. Hate that motherfucker. So Ben for
Yeah.
me. What about for you for Burning?
I would say Jung-soo. I just, like I said, at the beginning, like, I love Ben, but I like Steven Yeun. That's why I like Ben. You know what I mean? Like, but I do like Ben because he's just like, I see why Haimi liked him. He was rich. They were in Africa. I get it from her point of view, but I also appreciate Jung-soo and his awkwardness and his rawness and his vulnerability. Like, just for him to get caught up being obsessed with what happened to Haimi, I kind of could relate if I was in that position. I connect with him the most.
Yeah.
So I feel him. I get it. I would be the same way probably. Like, I'd be worried too.
To that degree
Not
of killing
really,
him?
but no, I wouldn't be killing anyone. But you know what I mean? Like, I guess I could just relate to him the most.
Yeah.
I get it.
Okay, so who's your favorite character in Parasite?
This is really a hard question. How about you answer first?
Okay. This could be out of left field. But I think my favorite character in Parasite might be the rich mom.
I was gonna say that. I swear to God, that's why I told you to answer it.
Really?
Because I was like, I fucking love her. Yeah,
She's really
the
funny.
best part of the movie. Yeah, I love her. And I that's why I was gonna say maybe he'll say something that'll spark something in my head to be like, oh, you know what? You're right. That is a good idea. But no, I was gonna say her too. But so go ahead. And why do you think why is she your favorite?
She's funny because of how gullible she is, right? Like, the poor family was able to do what they were able to do because she's kind of fucking dumb.
Yeah.
And just the way she acted was pretty funny. And the way, especially when it came to Ki-woo, like, she would always try to say things in English every so often, and it was just broken and just jarbled, and it was funny.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the way after the poor daughter, after the driver gets fired, and the poor daughter is leaving for the night, and the mom asks her what her experience was like with the driver, and then she says, "Oh, he tried to take me home, but I said I just go to the train station. He kept pushing, but I eventually convinced him to just take me to the train station." And then the mom is like consoling her for having to deal with that, and she's like, "Oh, poor Jessica, poor Jessica."
I know. I felt so bad. Yeah, they really.
It was just funny. I don't know.
She's the butt of the joke the whole movie, but in the best way. The best way.
She was taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm. The most, in my opinion.
Yeah, by everybody.
Yeah.
I think her husband. Look at the ways that her husband reacted when Kitaek asks if he loves her. He laughs. He goes, "Oh!"
Yeah.
He's
what
like,
did he
"Of
say? He said, like,
course."
yeah, he's like, she's my wife or something.
Yeah.
Like, says something, like, weird that you don't say when someone says, oh, do you love them? You don't say what he said.
Yeah, you don't laugh and be like, I mean, she's my wife.
It's like, okay, still, that doesn't answer the question.
Yeah, and he had disdain for her lack of ability to do, like, stuff around the house.
Right, like cooking and stuff. Right.
So I guess he just likes her because she's pretty. I don't know.
Yeah, and she had the babies and stuff.
Yeah. So she's being used by him more or less. I don't know. However you want to put it, however you want to look at it, but she's being used by her husband, being used by the poor family. She's just there. I feel bad for her, but she's funny. So
she's the catalyst of everything, like of how the family even gets their foot in the door. The dad's gone all the time, so the mom's like, sure, whatever, and you're just like, oh God, no. And yeah, she is my favorite character. She is the ray of sunshine in that movie. The only ray of sunshine in that movie. And I appreciated her. She was a great mom. Like, I don't know, just something about her, just her overall, gave me, if the movie could give me any warm, like, nice feeling, she gave it to me.
Yeah, she was
I
pure.
liked her character.
She was just
yes, pure and
a good
innocent,
person,
yes.
the only good person in the
Yes.
situation. For the most part.
Exactly.
I mean, she did do the role playing with sex where she was pretending to be like a prostitute or something. I just remembered that.
If that's what you were gonna say. Yeah, that was a little cringe for sure. That's when the whole sex scene kind of went downhill for me. I was like, okay, but yeah, she's great. I like her. She was my favorite. Overall, compared to who we're comparing
ultimately, she's
him
the
to.
best. She's the most good of them all.
Right, I agree. Well, good. I'm glad that we can agree on that.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought my answer was gonna be like completely out of left field, like I said.
No, mine was too. I was just like, I don't know. I thought you were gonna say like maybe someone in the poor family, but then I was like, no, everybody sucks. How could you pick someone? So. Yeah.
Okay, well, what would you rate... Let's do Burning first. What would you rate Burning out of 5?
I would rate Burning... I'm gonna get probably... like, specific. I would rate Burning 3.8 out of 5.
Very specific. You did not lie. 3.8. Okay, we usually do increments of 0.5s, but I guess we're doing 0.8 now.
No, but because it's not 3.5 and it's not 4. It's right in the middle.
Okay, so it's in the middle of the middle of the middle.
Yes, 3.8 for me.
Okay.
What
for
about
me, it's
you?
a 5 out of 5.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Why? Just 'cause?
It's just so good. I mean, I've seen it like 6 or 7 times.
Right.
It's just so...
It's more up your alley. That's the kind of movie you like.
It's just so haunting and like enticing and just entrancing. I don't know how to describe it. It's just... It's perfect.
Yeah.
It does exactly what it wants to do amazingly.
The only thing I would change is maybe a little... It's padding the runtime a little bit.
Kind of.
So that's maybe why I don't rate it a 5.
Yeah.
And... Also, I get the whole point of the movie is to, you're supposed to leave it up to speculation. You're supposed to wonder, okay, so what does that mean? And everyone's supposed to interpret it differently. But maybe another thing is the lack of, I know we're not supposed to have it, so it doesn't matter. But for me, the lack of background for Hamey. Mm-hmm. I would have liked to know a little bit more about her. Yeah, maybe a little more time with the mom. You know, I like the cryptic parts of it, but sometimes I'm just like, I'm dumb. I need help. Please, just give me a little bit more.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't stay up all night being like, so what did that mean?
I can understand that. It's certainly not a movie that can be universally loved and appreciated. Not that you don't love or appreciate it, but you know what I mean. It's
right.
Not the most accessible movie. It's slow and vague, and if you like look at it expecting like a Marvel movie,
right? You're not getting that at all. Right. So what about you with Parasite? What'd you say?
Also 5 out of 5. Both of these movies to me are 5 out of 5s.
I agree. I would give Parasite probably a 5 out of 5. It was a true masterpiece in my opinion. I just can't get over it. It's so good, and I mean, it is the credit and the popularity it has and had at the time of coming out was very warranted, and I'm very proud to have seen that movie and it be what it is.
Yeah.
I love it a lot.
They're making a HBO series that's either going to be a American adaptation of Parasite or a continuation of the story. I'm not sure.
So it's not going to have Korean actors, though?
I don't think so. It's going to be American. But still, it's a Parasite thing. Shame. It's something. It's better than nothing, I guess.
Well, Mark they better Ruffalo's have... Well, I hope they... Huh?
Mark Ruffalo is going to be in it.
He's okay. I like him.
He's a bit goofy. Nothing wrong with that, though.
But I think he could rise to the challenge and hopefully play the part ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, they announced it, I think, like in 2019. I don't know. It might be canceled at this point, but
Well, COVID probably had a problem,
Yeah, but
or filming.
they've been doing a lot of cancellations at HBO and
Mhm.
Warner in general. But if they make it, I don't know if
But
they're
they
still
passed
doing it
Velma.
anymore.
They greenlit
Yeah,
Velma.
well, because it got attention.
What's
because
going on?
I mean, hate is
Because
attention.
it's so terrible. Yeah. True.
But yeah, if they make if they actually make the Parasite show, I'm very interested in what that would be like. I mean, it's HBO. HBO makes good things.
Oh yeah.
Last of
for sure.
Us.
Speaking of, Last of Us comes out tonight. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh,
Yeah.
I usually don't watch them right when they come out, but
No, I
in
don't
the coming
either.
days.
But yeah, I watch it like on the next day or something.
Yeah. But yeah, that's been our discussion, I suppose, of Parasite and Burning.
Episode 1. This is our first episode we filmed.
Yeah.
Hopefully it went good. And thank you everybody for listening if you stayed this long.
Yeah, if you stayed this long, there's got to be something to like type in the comments for staying this long. If you stayed this long,
Yeah.
I don't know, type what you decide. What should the people type?
Oh, type Rosebud.
Okay, I guess we didn't do Citizen Kane, but whatever.
I know, but it's the first thing that came to my head.
Okay. Type
Or
Rosebud.
you could do the type Rosebud or like the rose emoji, something like that to let us know that you stayed. And if you did,
Yeah. But if you fast forwarded to
hear
the
from
very
us.
end to see what happens at the end, you don't get to fucking do it. You can't do it
Yeah.
if you fast forwarded to this point.
yeah.
But yeah.
Cool.
Thank
We'll
you.
expect more from us soon.
Yes.
We will be coming out with stuff very soon.
It's true. It's not a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Later.